Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. It's the end of a chapter, but at the end of every chapter there's also a beginning of a new one. And this new chapter starts on Saturday. The De Rossi era starts this Saturday at 6 p.m. Italian time at the Stadio Olimpico. Roma against Verona. Match preview today. It's the first match preview of the De Rossi era. Let's welcome him the best way possible. Let's discuss about this game. I'm excited. I'm excited to see I'm excited to see DDR back at the stadium. I'm excited to see him back home. I can't wait to see how the fans are going to welcome him. I also can't wait to see how the fans are going to thank Jose. And I just cannot wait to see Roma back playing. I'm expecting a reaction to see if things are changing. Is it an easy game? Yes, maybe it is on paper. But with Roma, it's never a question of easy games. We're favourites on paper because, for example, we lost to them. So anything can happen with Roma, and we know this very, very well. But yeah, look, start of a new era. That means start of a new formation, and we're gonna speak about the predicted 11 in a second. I don't want to speak about Verona a bit because they do have a lot of players missing. They obviously are fighting to not get relegated. They're in the middle of a relegation fight. And then I also, apart from our predicted 11, I want to speak about this transition, this change, and what it has to bring on the football pitch. And yeah, that's the night. Welcome everybody. Welcome Julia. Welcome Robert. Welcome Fahad. And yeah, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe as always, and let's get into this. I do want to start with Verona though. I do want to start with Verona because Verona have got a lot of players missing coming to this game. Verona basically just lost their favourite and their best player. Ngonje has left. And he's a new Napoli player. And he was not only their best player, but he was also the player who scored the most goals for them. And they just lost him. And I think, did they make a mistake in losing him? Yes, because they're in the middle of a relegation fight. And they obviously need to try and keep their biggest players to try and save themselves from relegation. But it is also true, and I've said this many times, that for these teams, finance is more important. They got 22 million from Ngonje. For a club like Verona, it's gold. So they accepted it, and they just lost their biggest player. Adding on to this, Verona have a lot of suspensions in this game. Duda, which is one of their most valuable players, is out for this game. Coppola is out of this game. Yeah, they're missing a lot of players. They are missing a lot of players. In terms of the players who we need to pay attention to, Henry is their striker, bagged the goal against Inter in that crazy game a few weeks ago, and then also missed the penalty, which could have brought a point in that robbery. Verona got robbed in that Inter game. Yeah, in terms of their position in the league, they're 18th. You know, they're in the middle of a relegation fight. And it's never a good thing to face these teams when you're in the middle of a crisis and when you're in the middle of a change and transition. Because these teams are desperate for points. These teams die to get 3 points. And Verona on Saturday is going to play the game of their lives. Will they park the bus? Of course they will pay attention to their defensive section, but they will need to try and get some points, and they will attack us, and especially in Saturday's game, they are going to exploit our weak defense, which is already weak, and Mancini is suspended for it, so it's going to be even weaker, and they've got nothing to lose in these games, these little teams, so they are going to be brave, and definitely try and aim to get and steal points from us, and Lazovic is also out. Thank you very much for pointing out in the chat. They're missing a lot of players, but you know, you look at all the players that they're missing, adding on to the fact that they just sold their biggest player, they are a weak side. And it's the reason why they, at the start of the season, were like 5th after they beat us, and then they dropped down, and now they're in the full mode relegation. In terms of who I think will get relegated this season, personally, I think Empoli and Verona are going to get relegated. And then I think it's a big fight between Cagliari and Salernitana. I just feel like Salernitana have got more quality than Cagliari, but Cagliari have got more experience with Ranieri and all of that. No Doig as well. And he was a great player, great defender for them. He just got sold to Sassuolo. They've got a very, very weak side coming to this game. They've got a team cut off from injuries and suspensions and transfers. So this has to mean 3 points. This is a game where, I've said this already, but we decided from the start of this season to now, we decided to base ourselves on these little games, and but we weren't able to get results in big games against contenders which contended the 4th place with us. So we now depend on these little games in a sense that if we somehow flop or mess up one of these little games, we are going to find ourselves in an ocean of difficulties because we are relying ourselves on these little games, and therefore it is very important to get full points and maximize points in these little games, which is also very important. So yeah, that's Verona. Moving on to us. Again, us. What a week. What a week for Roma. What a week for the environment. What a week for the players. On Monday, it was the day after we lost against Milan. On Tuesday, Mourinho got sacked and De Rossi got appointed. And on Wednesday, it was De Rossi's first full day as a Roma manager. And 3 days after it, we're playing his first game this Saturday. It's been a chaotic week. It's been a confusionary week. It's been a week where a lot of things have changed. And in a very abrupt and shocking way. In terms of the players and how they're going to react to this, I've said this yesterday. I think, in my opinion, one of the reasons why Mourinho got sacked is because the vast majority of the Roma squad turned against him. I have plenty of examples of players who clearly had fell out with the manager in these last months. You look at Smalling, you look at Renato Sanchez after he got subbed off after 10 minutes in that Bologna game. You look at Spinazzola. The only players which I think are really disappointed that Mourinho left are Mancini, Bove, Dybala, and Tammy. More than these 4 players, I think they had enough of Mourinho's philosophy, which again is interesting because you look at Mourinho's farewell video on Instagram and again, you don't pay close attention to details, but in that farewell video of Mourinho on Instagram, the evening of the day he got sacked, there are only 3 players in the pictures. His focus in that video is on 3 players. And the 3 players are Mancini, Bove, and Dybala. This is a way to say these are the 3 gladiators which always stuck with me. The others, like Pellegrini, for example, why wouldn't the manager after 3 years not post one single picture of the captain of this team? Pellegrini fell out with Mourinho. And another thing that I think Mourinho gave out of that video is also a last-minute advice message. And by including the pictures of just 3 players, he is saying, Roma, if I can give you one last tip before I officially leave, is you need to rebuild your team around these 3 players. 2 of these players are the players who will die for this team, and the 3rd player is the best player in your team. The rest are average players. And that's, in my opinion, another purpose of the video. But, the fact that the captain, the amount of little notice that the captain got in this farewell, and also the way he posted, compared to other players, his farewell post to Mourinho was just what was it? An easy sentence. He's the captain. You'd expect a bigger message from him. Smalling, the day after Mourinho got sacked, all of a sudden, Smalling starts speaking about his injury today by posting an Instagram story. Renato Sanchez, today, the day after Mourinho got sacked, changed his profile picture on Instagram back to him wearing a Roma kit. Again, don't base yourself on these details, but these are details which clearly tell you something, especially the Smalling one. Smalling, in my opinion, was one of the players who fell out the quickest with Mourinho. Again, I'm going to say it again. Don't base yourself on these little details, but these little details mean something. It just doesn't make sense that after 5 months of not knowing anything, the day after Mourinho got sacked, all of a sudden, Smalling starts speaking about his injury. It's not a coincidence. It's studied. Smalling didn't digest the fact that Mourinho kept attacking him in press conference. Same with the other players. Every time we lost a game, Mourinho went in front of the microphones and said, a bunch of these players don't care. A bunch of these players aren't good enough. And yes, that is the truth. But, a lot of these players felt offended and attacked. And that's the reason why a lot of these players prepared a mutiny against him. And following this, it was one of the factors which led to him being sacked. Now, the things have changed. Now Mourinho's not there anymore. And these players don't have an excuse. And this is something that Dan Fredkin made very, very clear a few hours after sacking Mourinho. This is something that the fans made very clear. There's a video of the fans stopping Dybala and Paredes in their Lamborghini and telling them, you now need to wake up. Because Mourinho isn't an excuse anymore. Mourinho isn't an alibi anymore. You can't just say, no, Mourinho's gone. He is not an excuse anymore. The Fredkins sacked him and they brought in a new manager. And now, it's all on you. It's all on you. You need to change your attitude. You need to change your reaction to these games. You need to change your will and desire to play for this team. And you need to start showing your balls and putting your face into these games. And that's very important. And it's exactly why on Saturday, just like I was expecting against Milan, but obviously we all know what happened this week, on Saturday, there is going to be a reaction from the players. And in my opinion, again, it's the start of a new thing. I'm excited. I don't want to get too positive. But in my opinion, I think we're going to win. I just don't, first of all, I just don't see how this team can lose to such a weak Verona side. Even though we did lose in August. When was it? September. But also, it's a new era. It's a new chapter. We have to start well, and we have to start from fresh. Because Mourinho ain't an excuse anymore. Mourinho won't be there after these in press conferences or in post-match interviews attacking you anymore. Okay, you might have felt disappointed and personally attacked from that, but that is not an excuse anymore. The ownership deliberately sacked him because you asked for it in a literal sense. Now it's your fault. Not your fault. Now it's your turn to change things around. The owners did what, in my opinion, wasn't right, but the owners did what, according to them, they had to do. But now it's all on the players. And the players won't have any excuses anymore. The players will not have any excuses. So yeah, that's the way I expect the team. Moving on to the predicted 11. Formation is going to be this. Now again, yesterday I spoke about a back three. And De Rossi keeping a back three, but then obviously changing the formation up front, so playing with higher full backs and changing the system. I am reading Sky Sports reports and all of that, and apparently this is going to be the starting formation for Verona. So in fact, moving 4 at the back, 3 in the middle, 2 as creative attacking midfielders, and 1 striker. Rui Patricio in goal, Spinazzola and Karsdorp as 2 fullbacks, with Huijsen and Llorente in the middle. Mancini suspended, so he won't be there. Cristante is suspended, and he won't be there. And Dika's at AFCON. By the way, Ivory Coast lost, so if they somehow bottle their next game, they're out already. And Ndika will be back sooner than ever. But in this game, it's Huijsen and Llorente at the back with Spinazzola and Karsdorp on the two full backs. It can be Zaleski. I'm not saying it can't. I'm not saying it can't be Christensen. I just think that De Rossi is going to initially start with Spinazzola because he knows Spinazzola more than Zaleski. And also because he knows Karsdorp more than Christensen. And when it's a first game for a new manager, and especially coming from only 2 days of training sessions and getting to know your players, it is natural for a new manager to choose the players he knows the best. And he definitely knows Karsdorp better than Christensen or Celik, and he definitely knows Spinazzola better than Zaleski. I think they're going to start because he still needs to study Zaleski. By the way, Zaleski, in my opinion, De Rossi is thinking of keeping him away from being a defensive fullback and putting him up front. From now on, forget about Zaleski as a defensive fullback and just start him as a winger. You will see a revelation in him. I'm about to clip this, mark my words. Stop playing with Zaleski there instead of Spinazzola and as a back four fullback, and start to put him up front. Trust me, he's going to be a revelation. Anyways, three in the middle with Paredes, Pellegrini and Bove. Now yesterday, I was the first one to say that Pellegrini needs to play where El Shaarawy is currently in that graphic. It was where Pellegrini played in Jose's first season, and it's no surprise that in Jose's first season, Pellegrini was great, scored goals. We won a trophy with Pellegrini playing there and all of that. However, for this game, due to the fact that Cristante is suspended, Pellegrini is forced to drop down because we don't have enough players. Renato Sanchez is injured. So in a normal ideal formation, Cristante, Paredes and Bove are going to play there, and Pellegrini and Dybala are going to play instead of El Shaarawy with Lukaku up front. But this time around, we have a few players suspended, Cristante and Mancini, so Pellegrini is forced to drop back, with Bove and Paredes forming a 3 midfield, then El Shaarawy and Dybala behind Romelu Lukaku. I like the style of this lineup. I ain't gonna lie. I will not lie. This is the lineup that Jose used in his first season. And again, yes, of course, it's not the only reason, but in my opinion, it's one of the reasons why we won a Conference League. Because the formation that Jose implemented in these recent times made no sense. The 3-5-2 formation, I never understood it, and I will never understand it, even if De Rossi puts it. This formation here, a lot of these players won a Conference League with it. So, again, this is the formation. 4 at the back, 3-2-1, or 4-2-3-1. Either of the two. But this is what I like. And this, in my opinion, is what should be Roma's formation moving forward. De Rossi is somebody who, again, it's going to take time. But he's a modern coach. He's going to be a coach which will try and set back from, he will try to start creating from the back. This is something which under Mourinho never happened. Because all these players did under Mourinho was Rui Patricio gave the ball to Mancini or Cristante or Ndika, and one of these players launching it up front in a hope that Lukaku would stop it. That didn't work out. De Rossi, again, it's going to take time. I'm not expecting to see this on Saturday. But it's going to be, he's going to have these tactics of playing from the back, creating from the back. And that's exactly all you need, a solid midfield to do that. Again, a lot of these players might not be able to do that. But don't forget that we don't have any hope here. These are the players we have. These are the players we have to keep. And yeah, that's in my opinion going to be the formation. I'm expecting a win. I'm expecting a solid win. I think we'll start De Rossi's era with an easy win. Again, we've got easy games ahead, so I'm expecting this team to play well in these easy games. In terms of more difficult games, looking at that final tie, I don't know. As of now, just like we did under Mourinho, game by game, De Rossi, he needs time. he will need confidence. He will need our support. He asked for this yesterday. Don't stop going to the stadium. Don't stop watching games. Don't stop tuning in. De Rossi needs our support more than ever, because I said this yesterday, but respect and fair play to him. I know he's a Roma legend, and I know that the second Roma calls you, De Rossi couldn't say no. But it's not easy for an emerging manager to get the place of a manager who brought glory back to us. It's not easy. It's not something which a lot of managers here would have done. De Rossi is an emerging manager. De Rossi is a manager who just started his career. But he is brave and has been brave and has had the balls, just like his entire football career, to accept a very difficult position. And that position is taking not only the job of a manager which brought glory and trophies, a trophy back to this fan base, but he needs to take the place of a manager who's a master at communicating and who was in love and made a lot of these fans fall in love with him. It's not easy. It is not easy. And De Rossi needs our full support. Starting this Saturday against Verona, moving on to the difficult times, because the reality is that difficult times will happen under De Rossi as well. I've said this yesterday, I've said this the day that Mourinho got sacked. Just like Mourinho didn't have a magic wand, neither De Rossi has it. De Rossi arriving doesn't mean that all of these problems will be cleared out. There will be a lot of problems still. But he has had the confidence and the courage to accept this place, whether we think as fans it's correct appointing De Rossi or not. We need to respect him. He decided to take Roma in a very difficult times, and he knows himself that this Roma adventure can burn him as a manager. He knows, and he has decided to take the risk of accepting this Roma offer, knowing that if he flops and fails, his managerial career will be killed, because it's now two managerial experiences that he disappoints in. It's not easy, and he will need time, he will need confidence, and most importantly, he will need support. Do you think Smalling will be back for the final game, at least second leg? Oh yeah, I think Smalling will be back not on Saturday, not next weekend, but the weekend after. He's made it very clear that, again, we will never know the truth, but a lot of the truth, in my opinion, is that yes, he was injured, but he kind of hid behind that injury. Behind that injury, hid a lot of tensions with the manager. Yes, he was injured, but it's also because he fell out with Mourinho. I have no doubt, and I have not a single doubt that Smalling will be back in a few weeks. I'm convinced. So yeah, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. Bring it on. New experience, new chapter. I can't wait. And I can't wait how he'll react coming back home. I also, again, I will be there on Saturday. I'm gonna try and capture this for the vlog, but I'm very curious to see how the fans thank Mourinho. I want to see what the banners say. So yeah, I am very curious for Saturday's game, and I can't wait to be back at the stadium. It's been a while. I haven't been at the stadium for quite a long while. So yeah, I am gonna catch you tomorrow. Tomorrow is also a very interesting live stream because it's De Rossi's first ever press conference as a Roma manager. So I'll be there to translate it. I'll be there to clarify everything for all you foreign speakers and Italian speakers. If you like me speaking, then there is nothing stopping you from listening. So yeah, tomorrow press conference, and then on Saturday it's the game against Verona to start De Rossi's era. Again, as I said before, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe. De Rossi needs us. I've said this already, but De Rossi needs us. And to show that we are there behind DDR to support him and to give confidence in him, smash the like as a community does. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, talk to you soon, and let me know your thoughts and opinions on the predicted 11, but also on this game as a whole. Will we win? Are we confident? Will De Rossi start his Roma adventure in the best way possible? We'll see. It's been a pleasure. Good night. Take care. And I'll talk to you very, very soon. See you, Mo.